This is Paul Turner, the Immigration Barrister at Imperium Chambers. Please subscribe to my channel, and if you have an immigration problem, get in touch with me. This video follows on from the previous one about the outgoing Secretary of State, Priti Patel, and today I'm going to be discussing whether her replacement is going to be any better. Having listened to some of Suella Braverman's rhetoric and looked into her background, some might wonder whether it will be a case of Suella or Cruella. Obviously, the sensible thing would be to overhaul the entire Home Office, invest more money, deal with the backlog of asylum cases, get rid of the hostile environment, which has failed miserably, propose and implement an amnesty for the million or so people that are never going to be removed, and then put into place a system that actually works. However, before we get too excited about reforms that may be humane, let's have a look at her record and see whether it's actually likely. She previously served as a controversial Attorney General. Now she takes the helm of the Home Department at a very turbulent time amongst the significant days of delays of not only the increasing number of asylum applications, the asylum backlog, but also the challenge going on in the courts as to whether the Rwanda scheme is legal. At a time that the entire Home Office is threatening to collapse under huge backlogs, historically low levels of removals and deportations, and creeping delays affecting nearly every migration route, a rational approach may be best suited for this sinking ship. The big question for her will be whether or not to try and stop the ship sinking and take dramatic action, or just rearrange the deck chairs while the band plays on as the ship slides slowly beneath the waves, which I suspect is what will actually happen. It appears we may not get what we want, as the new Secretary of State has almost always adopted a combative approach in her persona. Apparently she told the poor Home Office staff that while she supported them in what they were doing, she was not really interested in the details but getting things done, which does not really inspire confidence given the legacy left behind by Priti Patel. It has been clear from Suella's previous public statements that she strongly opposes entry by asylum seekers without prior permission and is fully committed to her predecessor's Rwanda policy. Well, I suppose she would be committed to it given the fact that the government paid 120 million to the Rwandans up front for doing nothing. The Times have also reported that she intends on pursuing a deal with the French government to manage illegal crossings alongside greater use of immigration detention and restrictions on asylum support. This sounds like Priti Patel really, and Priti Patel kept saying the same thing but didn't actually deliver. There is still the big question, which is what is the government's immigration policy going to be under the new Secretary of State? This is particularly important given that the number of people who receive a decision and are recognised as refugees by the Home Office is actually increasing. So the people coming here are actually entitled to be here. It is yet to be understood whether she is likely to encourage migration generally, as she has never had to grapple with immigration issues in the past. We may see her policies in immigration take shape over the following months. In fact, we probably will. Let's just hope they are positive. The one distinctive policy that the new recruit is thought to cherish is the UK's removal from the European Convention on Human Rights. She has gone on record in the past as Attorney General to lambast the ECHR for thwarting Priti Patel's plan to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda, even though most of the people were taken off the plane by the UK courts. A curious fact is that as a supposed independent guardian of the rule of law, who ought to provide independent legal advice, it is called into question why a legal officer of the government had admitted that the Rwanda deal was contrary to human rights laws at the same time that the government's lawyers were defending it in court. I would say it's surprising, but perhaps it's not. At one time, Braverman regarded herself as a barrister specialising in immigration law, and she was indeed appointed to the Government Legal Department C panel in 2010. One might have hoped that this may have injected an element of humanity into her ideology, but if it has, she seems to be keeping it rather quiet at the moment. As a self-proclaimed barrister specialising in immigration law, The hope would be that she understands the law and the importance of protecting migrants and other people's human rights, which is rather at odds with saying we ought to withdraw from the ECHR. Given her position to the right, apparently even more right-wing than Priti Patel, if that were even possible, this could present a real risk that she could override or ignore illegal advice from the government legal department, the Attorney General's office, or external counsel, and just push on regardless. However, as Priti Patel discovered, being big on ideas but short on detail, or ignoring legal advice, could lead to an even more disastrous Secretary of State, which would be an achievement, albeit not one that I would put on my CV. As discussed previously, Priti Patel has surely left Suella Braverman with a legacy that may end up defining her own. It seems at present the best way to ascertain the new recruit's policy on immigration and reform is to give it time. Let's hope that she acts humanely and not on the right-wing rhetoric. Otherwise, what's likely to happen is the already cracking system is likely to fall apart. But then there is, of course, the other option, which would be that when it does all fall apart, if she carries on with the rhetoric but without any detail or without any proposed sensible and legal plans, then she could always follow what's happened in the Conservative Party and find herself in a new job. After all, leaders in the Conservative Party seem to change place more often than people playing musical chairs. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. We await with bated breath as to see what is going to happen from the new Secretary of State for the Home Department. Obviously the nation is in mourning due to the loss of a much beloved Queen, and so things are likely to be on hold for a while whilst this mourning process carries on. Personally, I'm deeply saddened by the passing of the longest reigning monarch in history and the legacy that she leaves. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, and if you have any immigration problems, do contact me and I'll do my best to help you. Do stay safe. This is Paul Turner, the Immigration Barrister at Imperium Chambers.